it a certain way and you do it your way and then mess up, I don't want to clean it up. Because that was your fuck up, not mine.
I was feeling that Jake Paul was going to knock out Tank. This press conference made me feel a little bit more confident about Tank. I'm no cap.
He done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot.
One Floyd Mayweather recently broke down the highly anticipated Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, saying that Davis is making his own choices and taking big risks with his career. Floyd explained that he's given Tank advice in the past, but if that advice isn't followed, it's no longer his concern. Still, he admitted the matchup is great for the sport. The money is massive, and he'll definitely be watchable.
Within my company, within my team. Do it my way. Because if you mess up, I don't mind being a janitor to clean up the mess because I told you to do it a certain way. But if I tell you to do it a certain way and you do it your way and then mess up, I don't want to clean it up. Because that was your fuck up, not mine.
Boxing world is on fire with debate over the upcoming showdown between Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul. Fans and analysts are divided, some calling it a circus act, others calling it a bold new chapter for boxing. While critics dismiss it as pure marketing, supporters believe it's Tank's chance to reach a new audience beyond traditional boxing fans. Amid the noise, insiders have stepped in, some defending Tank's decision, others questioning whether the sport is losing its way.
And number 3, to retire.
I mean, the backlash is just what people do nowadays. That's just, you give somebody a keyboard, you give them a phone, and they able to hide their face. Yeah, they gonna have a field day. The backlash I get, I understand. What'd you say, number 2, not fight Shakur?
Yeah, he's saying he'll never fight Shakur, that he ain't gonna do him no favors, that he ain't gonna help him make no money because Shakur broke or something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't get all that. That's, you know what I mean? That's against the game. Like, you know what I mean? You at least owe that fight for the game. You know what I mean? You owe the rematch to Lamont for the game. But you owe Shakur for the game just because of the 2 style matchups, you know what I mean? But if he feel like he don't gotta fight him, guess what? We can't sit here and just go crazy about it, but it is kind of crazy.
Trainer Greg Hackett voiced frustration with the wave of backlash Tank has been getting. He argued that people today love to criticize fighters for almost everything they do often, without understanding what's happening behind the scenes. Hackett said if Davis chooses to fight Jake Paul, that decision deserves respect. After all, no one outside the ring truly knows what a fighter endures or what motivates them. For Hackett, fans should stop trying to dictate careers and instead appreciate the work, discipline, and sacrifice it takes to stay elite. His words reflect a growing frustration among trainers and fighters, who believe social media has turned boxing criticism into non-stop noise.
Like, he done a lot in his career, right? Not everything, but he done a lot. What people don't understand is his business is a lot. This whole experience is a lot. The shit these fighters go through is hard to explain. It's hard to explain because people, they can't see it, so they can't understand it. But it's stressful to the fighters because they coming from just getting ready to fight in the amateurs, being prepared, going out there, win, get it done, celebrate. All right, we back to the next camp. To now, marketing. You're talking about marketing. You're talking about lawyers. You're talking about all this shit that you just never imagined. You're like, why do I have to deal with all of this shit? People trying to keep money coming in, so they trying to come up with bright ideas. At the same time, you got a lot of people trying to get shit from you.
Or another major flashpoint in this debate has been sports analyst Max Kellerman, whose comments have sparked serious backlash. Many fans and fellow analysts accuse him of being biased, particularly against Gervonta Davis. In several recent appearances, Kellerman downplayed Tank's achievements, claiming he's never truly proven himself as a champion in his division. Those remarks didn't sit well with critics who pointed out Davis's dominant record and unmatched knockout power. They argue Kellerman's stance shows how boxing media sometimes undervalues younger stars, while overhyping spectacle-driven stories. The controversy reveals how bias and perception continue to shape public opinion in modern boxing.
Because Max Kellerman is full of nonsense. Max Kellerman claims that Gervonta Davis was never a champion, that we've never been a period of time when we looked at Gervonta Davis and said Gervonta Davis is the man in that weight class. Bunch of other ridiculousness pouring out of the pie hole of Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman is one of the most biased bought and paid for journalist that there is in the sport of boxing. And to have him back talking again on and giving his opinion again about the sport of boxing, I promise you is not a good thing. But let's analyze what he had to say about Gervonta, that Gervonta was not ever a champion. That is ridiculous because Gervonta Davis was a champion for the IBF at 130. He was a WBA super champion at 130. He is currently the reigning WBA champion at 135. And there is no other champion in the division for the WBA at the moment. He is the only WBA champion that there is at 135. He had a portion of a secondary. The title at the time he won it at 140 was a secondary title. So if you do not want to count that, I don't know why you wouldn't, seeing as everybody else counts that belt. But okay, fine. He's a 2-division world champion. That is more than zero, Max Kellerman. Now, looking at the idea that Gervonta Davis has never been the man in that division is absolutely ridiculous because Gervonta Davis has really been the man in that division the entire time that he's there.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi didn't hold back either. He blasted the idea of Davis fighting Jake Paul, saying boxing is losing its authenticity. According to him, knockouts only matter when they happen between evenly matched opponents. Manufactured fights, he said, mislead casual fans into thinking they're watching something real. During a discussion with analyst Chris Algieri, Malignaggi warned that letting social media-driven fighters share the stage with world-class athletes sends the wrong message about what true boxing stands for. His comments cut deep, reflecting a growing tension between entertainment and tradition within the sport.
Knockouts, dude. Knockouts. People like knockouts. They don't care if you're knocking out cab drivers. Look at Jake Paul's career.
You can manufacture that, though. You can manufacture that, though. You can manufacture
knockouts. You can't manufacture.
To a degree, you can. To a degree. I mean, you can. Yeah, Gervonta legitimately cannot get knockouts. I agree. He can punch, but there's a lot of limited knockout artists, though, man.
He's one of the least active punchers in the game with the highest knockout percentage of current heavyweight.
But if he was a real knockout artist,
current champion.
If he was a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best of the best. Felix Trinidad was a knockout artist. He was knocking out the best of the best. If you're a real knockout artist, prop him up against the best and show us how he smokes them. But the way
Paulie,
we did when Felix Trinidad was doing it. You know? The way they did it when Mike Tyson was doing it in his prime. Okay, say what you want about the Mike Tyson era. He knocked out everyone from 1986 to 1989. Everyone got knocked out. Everyone.
Well, by your standard, you could say that Tyson was, to a degree, manufactured.
No, because he fought everyone that was there. Everyone that was there at that time fought.
Teddy Ellis will 100% agree with this.
With the expense of
Witherspoon. That we're afraid of
him. With the exception of Witherspoon. No, but they all, doesn't matter. He knocked them all out. There was nobody you could say in that era except maybe Witherspoon, who I contract.
You could say the same thing about?
Who had contract issues with King at the time. Oh, except for Witherspoon, there is nobody Tyson didn't fight in that era. He knocked them all out. You can't say like, oh, but if he would have fought that guy, I don't know. No, with Davis, there's guys right now that have been hanging around for years. Yo, dude, when are you going to fight them? The lightweight division was stacked with talent. Even at 130, it had a lot of talent when he was there. Didn't fight almost any of them. So it's not the same thing as the Tyson era. You want to say anything about Tyson era, fine. It wasn't as high level or something. He still knocked out everyone.
For boxing purists, it's unsettling. For marketers, it's genius. But no matter which side you're on, this fight has already done what boxing rarely achieves, capturing the attention of the entire world. Fighters like Gervonta Davis are learning to balance legacy with entertainment, adapting to a new era where attention is everything. Whether you love it or hate it, this matchup shows that boxing isn't dying. It's evolving heart, grit.
Contract, yeah. You prove your innocence and say that it ain't fixed. Because check this out. Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many hoes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, this gonna be taking candy from a baby. You know, Jake is missing the rules. See, this what happened when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens. You know, you start reading your own press clippings. That's what Jake is doing. You know, fighting this lower level competition, and now he think he an ish. Now he think he the man. He ain't the man. You kidding me? He is not the man. Oh no. Yeah. False sense of security. Now he trying to pick on small folks, right? You know, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I'm just saying size-wise. Yeah, that's another thing, boxing one-on-one. You can't pay attention to size. The heart right in that damn dog. It ain't the size of the damn dog, and I told y'all that, man. Yeah, it's the same thing here. And it's about the smartest dog. Tank too smart for him. Tank got too much boxing IQ for Jake, man. This gonna be easy. Easy. Like I said, man, Tank, please. Please, man. Don't do this to boxing, bro. If there's anything, man, shoot, man, we can put together some kind of like account for you, a GoFundMe account or whatever, bro. And we can, all your fans can give you $1, bro, so that way you don't be blowing this fight. It's easy, bro. This sparring section. You know, look, I'm so confused. I don't know what the hell to call this. The circus? Just call it a circus. Yeah, just call it a damn circus. Because, you know, one minute they said, oh, this is the fight.